Michael becomes one of the PCPD's top suspects in shooting Drew, and Jack offers Nina an interesting deal. It's night, and Chase arrives at the hospital. He's heard Drew is awake, but Willow relays that she hasn't seen him and admits she's avoiding it. She confesses she's confused and doesn't know what to do, but still believes Drew is her best chance to get her kids back. Chase thinks she doesn't need Drew. Lucas and Liz speak about Drew being awake and the cops' presence at the hospital. Liz confides that she's avoiding the police as she heard Carly threaten to kill Drew the night he was shot. Lucas laughs that Carly threatens to kill a lot of people when she's mad. Liz won't run to the cops to say what she knows, but she will tell the truth if questioned. Isaiah steps into Portia's office to speak about Drew being awake. She admits she wishes she had stayed in bed with him the other night, as she feels bad about saving Drew's life, given what he's done to her family members. Isaiah says that makes her a great surgeon. She gives everyone her best, regardless of who they are. She admits the other reason is that, as much as she enjoyed being with him in his bed, it can't happen again. Isaiah understands, as it's a tricky situation with her being his boss. Isaiah will honor her decision but would be interested in seeing where things could go should she change her mind. Who shot Drew? Curtis, in Drew's room, isn't surprised he's pointing the finger at Michael. Drew admits he doesn't know who shot him, and for all he knows, it could have been Curtis. He warns Drew he's in a vulnerable position, someone tried to kill him once, and could come back to finish the job. Is Drew paralyzed? Lucas interrupts and has come to answer any questions Drew might have. Curtis leaves them. Lucas briefs Drew on the surgery, and there could be long-term effects from the second bullet, which was lodged against his spine. Drew asks if he could be paralyzed. Lucas does some needle tests on Drew's feet, and there are no signs of paralysis. Drew thanks God, and Lucas suggests he thank Dr. Robinson. Drew grumbles that it's a miracle she didn't let him die. Lucas lashes out at him, and Drew gets the sense that Lucas isn't his biggest fan either. Lucas says Carly and Michael are his family, and he's only obligated to provide him with medical care, not stand around and chat. Lucas walks out. In the halls, Liz grabs Willow to give her some bad news. It appears Rick's left town, and they don't know when he'll be back. Willow freaks out, as she now has no lawyer. Elsewhere, Chase stops Curtis and asks about his whereabouts around the time Drew was shot. Will Lulu take Carly's advice? Carly stops by Lulu's place. The kids are taking Outback on a walk, and Lulu informs Carly that her super spy boyfriend wants her to let Charlotte see Valentine, as he needs something from the Cassadine. Carly asks what Charlotte wants. Lulu says Charlotte doesn't know. Carly suggests it could bring Charlotte peace of mind to see he's okay, and it's worth considering. Carly reminds Lulu that Valentine will be in prison for life, and she can't cut Valentine out of Charlotte's heart. She needs to let Charlotte make this choice, as if she finds out she kept her from seeing her dad, her daughter will resent her. What does Jack offer Nina? Jack meets Nina at the Port Chairs Grill to speak about the situation with Valentine, Lulu, and Charlotte. Jack knows she is close with Charlotte. Nina stops him and states she is not going to lure a child onto a plane to Switzerland against her mother's wishes. Jack isn't going to kidnap a child and simply wants her to help get Lulu on board with this. Nina suggests Carly would be in a better position to convince Lulu, and frankly, she doesn't know if having Charlotte visit her father is in her best interest. She is protective of the girl, and she doesn't want to see her hurt. Anna and Dante question Michael. Michael arrives at the PCPD to speak with Anna and Dante. Diane sent Marco in her place to help, which is a surprise to Michael. Marco and Michael speak alone briefly. The lawyer explains that Diane is representing Alexis, so she can't represent him. Michael trusts Diane's judgment, and the question begins for his whereabouts that night. He was with Christina when his father called with the news about the judge's death. He then spoke to his mother and finally went to the Port Charles Grill to decompress. While there, he struck up a conversation with Jacinda Bracken. Anna asks if he's aware she's the escort who was photographed with Drew. He didn't at the time, but does now. Michael continues, providing the times he arrived and left the grill, which is when he realized he had left his phone in his car the entire time. That's when he had missed calls from Wiley and Brooklyn, and he went home as his son had a nightmare. Anna asks if he stopped anywhere else on his way home, and Michael recalls that he did. We see a memory of him getting into his car, soaking wet, during the storm. He says he stopped nowhere, and Jacinda can account for their time at the grill. Dante notes Drew only named Michael as someone who may have shot him, and no one else. Michael isn't surprised. Anna allows Michael to go, for now. At the internet cafe, Kai lets Trina know that Drew is awake. Trina worries Drew might know they were there when he was shot. Kai says he can find out by visiting Drew, who has no idea he knows who he really is. As long as Drew thinks he's still on his side, he can protect them. Kai takes off, and Emma finds Trina completely dazed. She says hello to her and goes to place an order. She returns with some tea for Trina, as she notes she looks like she can use some and a friend. She sits down and is willing to listen to her. Trina lets everything out, her mother switching Heather's lab results, being blackmailed by Drew, and lying to her father. She feels it all started because of her. Emma insists none of this is her fault, and it's not her job to fix her parents' problems and make them happy. She tells her friend to focus on making herself happy. Trina thanks her for the advice. What does Drew want Kai to do? Kai goes to the hospital to see Drew and plays as if nothing has changed between them. Drew is glad to see him as he needs a big favor. He wants Kai to open his safe and bring him some of the items inside. Kai says he can't, as his house is a crime scene. Drew suggests he can use his key and sneak in, and nobody will know, but Kai doesn't feel comfortable. Drew understands and has something else he can do for him. In the halls, Curtis tells Chase he can't help him. He will come to the station if summoned to answer questions, accompanied by his lawyer. Elsewhere, Willow realizes she needs to find a new lawyer. Liz suggests that she try Martin, but in the meantime, she needs to focus on proving that she is a good and stable mom. Willow fears it's not enough, and she's going to need Drew, no matter how much she hates him. Suddenly, Kai interrupts them and says Drew is asking to see Willow. In her office, Portia thanks Isaiah for being there when she needed him. And while she'd like to see where things could go, she can't do that to her daughter. In the show's final moments, Isaiah tells Portia he'll respect her decision and hopes they can be friends. She says they can, and they shake on it. He heads, but not before saying he hopes she changes her mind someday about them. In the halls, Chase tells Curtis that as a former cop, he knows that when people lawyer up, it means they are hiding something. Curtis again has nothing to say without his lawyer and walks off. Chase then calls the station to find out when Curtis left there with Stella. He left at 8:30, which would give him plenty of time to have shot Drew. Chase decides it's time to talk to Stella Henry. In Anna's office, Dante admits that if you can hire an escort for the company, you can hire one for an alibi. Anna agrees, and they can't rule Michael out. They also need to bring Jacinda in. Michael and Marco head to the Port Charles Grill, and Michael knows the cops will want to question Jacinda. He'll contact her and speak with her, dismissing Marco. At the hospital, Lucas tells Liz he's confident Carly didn't shoot Drew. Liz isn't, as Carly feels that Drew is a threat to her family. At home, Lulu is grateful that Carly is telling her the truth, but she is Charlotte's mom, and what's best for her is leaving the past in the past. She doesn't see any good coming from a visit with Valentine, and nobody will convince her otherwise. Back at the grill, Jack tells Nina that Drew has been shot, and it's only a matter of time before she and Willow are questioned. Jack can offer her a mutually beneficial friendship. If she helps him with Charlotte, the WSB will help her and Willow when the day comes. He warns it's coming soon. He doesn't need an answer now, but tells her to think it over. Jack leaves, and Nina looks up and sees Michael across the bar. Finally, Willow goes into Drew's room, where he's sleeping. He stirs awake and looks up to see her face. Michael Corinthos finds himself at the center of a high-profile investigation as the Port Charles Police Department, PCPD, names him one of their top suspects in the shooting of Drew Kane. Meanwhile, Jack Brennan extends an intriguing proposition to Nina Reeves, setting the stage for a complex web of alliances and betrayals. Michael Corinthos under investigation. The tension in Port Charles escalated today as Michael Corinthos was formally interrogated by Anna Devane and Dante Falconeri at the PCPD. Accompanied by his attorney, Marco Rios, Michael provided a detailed account of his whereabouts on the night of Drew Cain's shooting. He explained that after receiving news of Judge Eva Heron's death, he visited the Port Charles Grill to unwind. There, he met Jacinda Bracken, an escort previously photographed with Drew. Michael claimed they conversed at the bar, and after realizing he had left his phone in the car, he decided to return home to the Courtemain estate. He mentioned missed calls from Brooke Lynn Chase and his son, Wiley, who had experienced a nightmare. Michael's alibi hinges on Jacinda's testimony, but questions arise about the nature of their interaction and whether she can be considered a reliable witness. The investigation took a dramatic turn when Dante revealed that Drew had identified Michael as a potential suspect, despite not witnessing the shooting himself. This revelation casts doubt on Michael's innocence and adds complexity to the case. Further complicating matters, Anna brought up a previous altercation between Michael and Drew at the Metro Court, though Marco Rios intervened, noting there was no official complaint. While Michael was allowed to leave the station for now, the PCPD's interest in him remains intense. Jack Brennan's proposition to Nina Reeves. In a separate development, Jack Brennan approached Nina Reeves with a proposition that could have significant implications for both of them. Meeting at the Port Charles Grill, Jack requested Nina's assistance in persuading Lulu Spencer to allow their daughter, Charlotte Cassadine, to visit her father, Valentine, who is incarcerated at Steinmauer. Jack emphasized the potential benefits of such a visit, suggesting it could provide Charlotte with much-needed closure and stability. Nina, however, expressed reluctance, citing concerns about Charlotte's well-being and the possible risks involved. She also questioned Jack's motives, sensing that his request might be more self-serving than he let on. Undeterred, Jack hinted at a possible quid pro quo, suggesting that the WSB could offer assistance to Nina and her daughter in the future, should they choose to help him now. The specifics of this potential deal remain unclear, but the implications are significant. Lulu Spencer's investigation. Meanwhile, Lulu Spencer has taken matters into her own hands, delving into the investigation of Drew's shooting. Her journalistic instincts have led her to question various individuals connected to the case, including Willow Tate and Dr. Portia Robinson. Lulu's probing has uncovered information about a blackmail scheme involving Drew and Portia, though the details remain murky. She also discovered that Drew had been drugged several months ago, a fact that could be linked to the current shooting. Lulu's investigation has not gone unnoticed. She has become a person of interest to the PCPD, and her findings may soon place her in direct conflict with law enforcement. Her pursuit of the truth could have unintended consequences, both for her and those around her. The web of deceit. As the investigation into Drew's shooting unfolds, a complex web of relationships and motives comes to light. Michael's potential involvement raises questions about his past interactions with Drew and the circumstances leading up to the shooting. Jack's proposition to Nina introduces a political angle, suggesting that alliances and power plays may be influencing events behind the scenes. Lulu's independent investigation threatens to expose secrets that some would prefer remain hidden. The residents of Port Charles find themselves entangled in a narrative filled with intrigue, betrayal, and the quest for justice. As each character navigates their personal and professional lives, the lines between right and wrong become increasingly blurred. In a town where everyone has something to hide, the truth may be the most elusive thing of all.